In this module, I'm going to sum up the key messages, the impact of diversity in the workplace. Apple, Intel, Procter Gamble, Walt Disney, and many other companies have received the most positive opinions from their own employees and are among the top companies worldwide in market capitalization. They've adopted a strategy of global inclusion, eyeing markets from diverse points of view and thus maintaining their competitive advantage. These companies appreciate the strength of work groups that are varied and different from the typical prevailing culture when priorities are geared towards attracting new clients, promoting innovative practices, and generating new energy. That's how it's always been. The founders of Ford, General Electric, IKEA, Virgin, and Apple were dyslexic, just like Thomas Watson, who inaugurated the era of information technology at IBM during the Second World War. Prejudices and cultural stereotypes can cause companies to waste talent based on fixed notions of such aspects as gender, gender identity, and sexual orientations. Turning a blind eye prevents the organization from seizing market opportunities, or in some cases, may even create a genuine company crisis. If a company's top management, for example, is largely composed of men, the problem is not only one of pink quotas or company reputation. We know that the competitiveness of the organization is at risk in a world where women are more and more the arbiters of consumption and social trends and are motivated to change their lives for the better. Inclusion maximizes the creative tension of the organization. A group made up of experts known for their creativity, but nevertheless homogeneous, may prove less creative than a group of non-creative people who, however, have varying backgrounds in terms of ethnicity, culture, training, gender, ability, affective life, age, religion, and more importantly, style and personal aspirations. According to the research, even groups put together at random find better solutions as compared with homogeneous groups of experts who share the same training and think in the same way. Gender diverse teams score more highly on collective intelligence than all male or female teams. Research carried out by the University of Castilla-La Mancha, published in 2013, showed that from a technological perspective, the balance between men and women is a critical factor in the growth of competitiveness and the promotion of radical innovation. This is true for organizations and countries. If Japan achieved gender parity in its labor force, its gross domestic product would increase by almost 20% over the next 20 years. Both research and the businesses that have adopted a strategy of gender and LGBT inclusion show that, from an internal perspective, this encourages the search for the best talent available and facilitates the creation of a context in which multifaceted prospects improve the decision-making process. From the external perspective, this facilitates understanding of all the customers and therefore makes it possible to win them over and keep them. Companies need to ask themselves, are we succeeding in understanding the emerging society? Or better still, how can we position ourselves to understand the emerging society, the new needs, the new families? Customers reward companies that offer ways to improve their experience of life. It is said that manufacturers of household appliances have done more for the equality of the sexes than 100 conferences on the subject. Today, customers demand to be recognized in their diversity and individuality. They are asking companies to promote social change. Recognizing these trends allows us to identify new spaces for business. In a survey of brand perception, Italian customers greatly appreciated IKEA's having put baby changing stations in the men's room, a small gesture of service capable of communicating a contemporary vision of gender equality. In Italy, IKEA comes out of the closet with the ad campaign "We are open to all families." On the poster, two men are holding hands at the entrance of the store. The motto that greets new hires at IKEA is, "To be one of us, you have to be yourself." Is the reception desk at the hotel ready to provide an LGBT couple with the appropriate welcome? What does it mean to prepare an entire city for an exposition so that it is ready to include the same-sex couples? Dissatisfied customers can communicate with millions of others through social media. Customers who have perceived an organization as non-inclusive can report their experiences all over the world. To be able to understand the evolving needs of current and potential customers, Procter & Gamble abides by a simple principle. The people who work at the company must reflect the plurality of consumers and the markets in which the company wants to succeed. This global strategy of diversity and inclusion was inaugurated in 2010 and was understood to be a process of continuous improvement. Processes of inclusion thrive on stories like those of the Saudi women. In Saudi Arabia, women live apart from men in public, and it is rare for women and men to work side by side. Involving women in the country's workforce was considered a real challenge. Procter & Gamble saw an opportunity to make its activities more inclusive in order to gain a competitive advantage when it considered the fact that Saudi women made the decisions for most of the family's purchases. This then was the start of a decade-long journey aimed at enabling Saudi women to express their talents and their intuitions within Procter & Gamble in observance of cultural norms and local values. In view of Saudi labor laws, the Procter & Gamble Arab team decided to undertake a gradual approach towards gender diversity. The first step, as early as 1998, was to hire outside female collaborators. At that time, women were obliged to work in a location separate from that of the man. Then, in 2004, given their initial success, the company became the first organization of consumer goods in the kingdom to obtain a license to hire women full-time. Through a training program on diversity and inclusive culture was promoted, and a balance between personal and professional life was encouraged. The Saudi team also created a recruitment program at universities for women, as well as mentoring programs on change. Today, women are active in all company functions: finance and accounting, human resources, sales, and marketing. Over the years, Microsoft was committed to working on a search for greater gender balance. More than 50% of the managers at the company are in fact women. Then the company widened its scope of vision and action even further to attract, develop, and retain the best talent. In England, the Authentic Leadership Program supports people of every sexual orientation so that they can perform their job with authenticity. General Electric's Women's Network established a scholarship program in 2002 and has raised more than $700,000 from employee donations for female undergraduate students in engineering, technology, and finance fields. In 2011, the network implemented a series of STEM science, technology, engineering, and math day camps for junior high school girls. Hubs and GE partner universities develop curriculum that fosters girls' interest in STEM with the long-term goal of encouraging more women to enter those career fields. The Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender and Ally Alliance invests in cultivating the general elected leaders of today and tomorrow. Dedicated to growing LGBT talent around the world, the Alliance is helping the company to build an inclusive, adaptable, and creative culture well positioned to meet the ever-changing needs of the business environment. The highly decorated commander-in-charge of all the British Army's combat troops has launched an unprecedented appeal for more lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender recruits to join up. These are some examples of organizations that have taken practical steps to embrace diversity.